Alright, we got the 2020 Polaris Ranger in the shop. We're going to put a 3-inch lift kit on it today. So let me go ahead and get a measurement, and we'll see what the current ground clearance is on it, and I will show you what all is in the kit. Alright, for ground clearance, to the bottom of the receiver hitch, it looks like we're 11.5 inches. So we'll see how much it raises after we put the lift kit on it. Alright, the lift kit. It's going to be 4 brackets for the rear, 2 for each side. 4 brackets for the front, 2 for each side. Some spacers, lock nuts, washers, and bolts. Alright, well, we'll get this thing put up on the lift and start putting the brackets on to relocate the shocks. Alright. Right on the rear, you're going to have to undo the upper shock and then the sway bar on each side. This sway bar length, this rod that goes down, there's a little flat spot on each side of it that you can fit a 8mm wrench around. The nut on the sway bar and on the shock are both 15mm. So let's get those off. Okay, so on this kit, you're going to have 4 brackets like this. You need 2 per side on the rear. On the rear, this bracket's going to come in on the inside for 1 bracket, inside of the original mount, and then the other bracket will be on the front side. So let's get that put on with the new spacers, new bolts. we'll get some nuts and washers on that and then remount the shock. Now the kit I got on Amazon, the bolts are a 16mm head and the nut is a 17mm head. Okay, well I'll get these tightened up and then we'll get the shock put in. That's how the bracket should look. One of the new brackets on the front side of the original shock mount, and then the other one on the front side of it. Spacers in between, and then the nuts and bolts. So now all we lack is getting the shock mounted. I'll probably end up loosening up these brackets a little bit just to get this shock to fit in there a little easier. And then we'll use the original shock bolt and nut. Alright, I got those brackets loose. It's my fault. Not thinking ahead. So they're loose enough I can get the shock in now. I'm going to pick up on the tire. Check this bolt. So that's where I've come from the front side. Another set of hands to help would be beneficial. But you can do it by yourself if need be. Okay, I'll get all this stuff tightened up and we'll move on to the front. Alright, on the front one, we're going to loosen up this sway bar. I don't know if I want to take it all the way off or just loosen it up quite a bit. And then there's one bolt and nut up at the top of the shock. We'll get it out and get the new brackets installed. I'll show you how to put them in. Alright, I got it loosened up all the way. I couldn't record the whole thing. The camera was shaking too much. So, nuts off. I'm going to pick up on the tire a little. Hold on. Okay, try to get you guys moved in a spot where I can get a hold of stuff. Okay. Alright, I just picked up on the tire and was able to pull the upper bolt out. Alright, so on the brackets, here's what they look like. 4 holes. The rear bracket will go on the back side of the plate. The front bracket will go inside of the factory shock bracket. And you'll notice there's 2 holes down here. The inner hole is for the maximum lift, and the outer hole is for the lowermost lift. Alright, so the front bracket, it gets put in. Spacer. Okay. And the rear bolt. And the last spacer. Okay. The rear plate goes on the back of it. And then 2 washers, 2 lock nuts. And the shock. And might have to loosen the sway bar off all the way, just to get it down a little bit more. I was able to pull down on it. Okay. And the shock nut. Alright, well, I'm going to get all this hardware tightened up, get it set on the ground, tighten the sway nuts, the sway bars back up, and we should be done with this. We'll get a new measurement on the rear receiver and see what we're at the end of it. Okay, fronts are all done. The only other thing they recommend doing is on the shocks. See, it's on the softest setting right here. They recommend you take it to the firmest setting. So in the factory toolkit on these Rangers, they do come with a shock tool. So I'm going to crank those up probably about midways. I don't think I'm going to put them quite on the most firm. But we'll see. We'll see how it does. Alright, so I did move it up. Not at the firmest, but the setting just right below it. We'll see how that does for it. Alright, the kit's all on. I've drove it around, let everything settle out on the suspension. Let's see what the new ride height is. It was 11.5. Now it's 13.5 to the bottom of the receiver. So anyways, if you found any of this information beneficial, give the video a like. We'll see you in the next one.